As you know, Congress has been focused on energy policy for a number of years. Shortly after I was first elected, we passed the Energy Bill of 2005 that for the first time included the historic renewable fuels standard. We then followed that up in 2007 in December with a more aggressive renewable standard that also included provisions for energy efficiency, as well as modifying and improving the corporate average fuel economy standards for vehicles sold in the United States for the first time in decades. But the renewable fuel standard, right after it was passed in December, for 36 billion gallons, including advanced biofuels, very aggressive targets starting in 2008 through 2022. It was immediately under attack. A lot of misinformation that was spread about what was happening in the corn markets and what was happening to food prices, and a lot of blame put on corn ethanol for those increases in prices versus where the blame and responsibility lies, as I think we all know here in South Dakota, on increased fuel costs for transportation, processing, and marketing. And as we saw commodity prices come down over the last number of weeks, we're not seeing a commensurate drop in food prices. So we know that energy prices, as they continue to remain high, but they're coming down too in light of the downturn in the economy, we have to remain vigilant to protect the renewable fuel standard, to make sure that the loan guarantees are being implemented appropriately, both within the Department of Energy and the USDA, to advance the cellulosic ethanol that we know we have vast resources in South Dakota to promote advanced biofuels as well. As part of the economic recovery plan, also known as the bailout, we did get back from the Senate the tax extenders that included the production tax credit for wind, investor tax credits for solar, other important tax extenders for business, individuals, and I've always supported those extenders. However, they came back from the Senate unpaid for, and this is adding another over $100 billion to the national debt, in addition to the $700 billion that was part of the recovery package. But we at least got the extension for wind done for 1 year. I have supported, and it has passed in the House, multiple year extensions of the production tax credit. But for wind energy development to really have the certainty of investment that it needs, we need a multi-year production tax credit, at least 5 years, if not 10, and readjusting the priorities in Washington for how we structure taxpayer-provided incentives to a growing industry in wind energy, solar, and again, biofuels. I'll just briefly mention 3 bills that I've introduced that I plan to reintroduce in the 111th Congress, should I still be representing South Dakota after the election in 20 days. And it includes the renewable biomass definition. That's an act that I introduced shortly after the Energy Policy Act was enacted in December of 2007 because of unnecessary restrictions on using woody biomass and other land use issues that we think are important to address more effectively than was done in the December legislation, so that folks in the western part of South Dakota and Black Hills National Forest, which we know is rich in woody biomass resources, that they can participate in cellulosic ethanol development as well. I also introduced a bill with my colleague from Nebraska, Jeff Fortenberry, to promote more wind energy development at a community-based level. And this is a change that we're seeking to make so that we don't have offsets between 2 federal programs utilizing either the production tax credit or what we call the REAP program, which is the Renewable Energy, the Renewable Energy for America program, and the grants that we have authorized in the Farm Bill. So we want to encourage community-based development and the corporate investment necessary to promote that development, and the offsets that currently exist in the law are a disincentive to do so. And finally, we know that it's important to continue to enhance the infrastructure for advanced biofuels and biodiesel, and that includes a bill that I've introduced with a colleague from Illinois, John Shimkus, to increase the grants and the tax credits to encourage convenience store owners to integrate the distribution system, the pumps, the blender pumps and E85 pumps onto their properties and into their businesses by enhancing the tax credits that they're capable of receiving under the law. So that's where we are, sort of what we've done, what more we need to do to enhance a comprehensive energy policy especially for renewable energy, when we know advanced biofuels and wind, we have so much of in South Dakota, help not only with our national security, with our economic security and growing jobs, but also the environmental objectives in addressing the emissions that are far less, obviously, for wind and advanced biofuels than for traditional fossil fuel development. But there is broad agreement in Washington that we need a comprehensive strategy and a smart investment of taxpayer resources.